This is about the tertiary institution and, of course, the student loan, which has become a major concern for the federal government. And their statement is that the tertiary schools are now colluding with the banks to shortchange student loan applicants, which is a very big deal. Now, Probe has uncovered allegations of unethical practices involving some universities and banks in the handling of student loans, loan funds disbursed through the federal government loan scheme. The NOA, which is the National Orientation Agency, thought its community orientation and mobilization officers said certain tertiary institutions are suspended of colluding with banks or are suspected of colluding with banks to unfairly disadvantage student beneficiaries of the loan program. Larry Issa Onilu, the Director General of NOA, disclosed the findings following a meeting with Akintunde, which is the Managing Director of the National Student Loan Fund. In a statement issued, Issa said early evidence points to university officials withholding key information related to loan disbursement, prompting now fund to intervene. Now, the NOA alleged that some institutions in partnership with specific banks have intentionally delayed payments to approved student applicants for personal or institutional gain. It added that several universities are not acknowledging the disbursement made by NELFund to students, also confirming that the issue at the meeting, citing cases where institutions received student loan funds directly but failed to notify recipients or record the payment accurately. Now, he also issued warnings to the implicated institutions and collaborating banks, demanding an immediate halt to the alleged misconduct. He also revealed that the NOA has instructed its state directorate to collect further feedback from students nationwide to support federal sanctions against any culpable school or financial institution. Now, despite this effort, some students have reported delays in receiving funds even after being approved. In some cases, the disbursed amount have not matched actual tuition fees, leading to confusion about repayment terms. And NELFund had earlier threatened legal actions against institutions that failed to properly communicate disbursement details to applicants. Now, this is a whole lot. I do not know. Well, Nigeria, there's always, I don't know, I don't want to say Nigeria, there's just always a loophole somewhere. When it comes to money, disbursement, trying to help Nigerians in one way or the other, why do we keep having people manipulating the process?
No, because an average Nigerian, I'm sorry to say, but and it's difficult to accept this fact, but it's the truth. An average Nigerian is a criminal. We think in corruption. Okay? Some years back, I watched Pastor Tony said on TV that he was in the US, and a popular TV anchor was on air, and he said he just came back from Nigeria, the most corrupt nation in the world.
Oh, wow.
And Tony said he was so angry, he drove down to the studio and waited for the guys to finish with the session, and he attacked the guys. He said, look, I'm a Nigerian. So how do you address Nigerians that way? But yeah, he fought for Nigeria, but to be sincere, 8, 9 out of 10 Nigerians, given the opportunity, they will abuse it. Corruption will come in big time, and it will be conducted in such a soulless and a mindless manner. For crying out loud, the student loan scheme is about the best thing this government has done for Nigerians. All right, because you have given opportunity for young people that ordinarily might not be able to go to school, their parents might not be able to take them through school, to have access to tertiary education, all right, in a long, interest-free loan process and all of that. I thought that was a fantastic thing. Why not just make it good? Once government has paid, let them assess it. Well, what do we have? Corruption has come to play again. The Nigerian factor has come to play again, because they will sit back and they look for how they can just make money out of it, and they're already doing it. And then what happens? The government will be discredited. Now the thing is, okay, it's good that the government is looking at taking legal action. That's fine. But you see, beyond what they are doing now, they are doing what they're doing because they know there will hardly be any consequence. Yeah. That's the problem we have with tackling corruption. And again, if government tries to fight them, like government is wanting now, and then threatening to go to court against these institutions, you know what they will do?
What?
They will blackmail the government. they'll come up with 1 or 2 issues and they want to go on strike. And then once they come up with that strike issue, because we have a very lazy public, they are not objective, okay? They don't take things from the root, or they just see things from the surface. When they see that, okay, ASUU is going on strike, they don't want to know what is the cause of it. They just blame it on the government and start, drumming, all manner of whatever on the government. The media will play their own part too, criticize the government unfairly, unjustly, and all of that. They know they have this too, and they have the attention of the public. So they will use to blackmail the government. So now they come to have to tune down and what they do. Even now that they are threatening them or warning them, they still will not stop because of greed. The banks will make money, keeping money with them. These guys also make money. Look at case even when they like remit shots, they shortchange,
yeah.
Not because they don't want to make money out of it. This is sad. This is sad. And if they're not fighting as an institution, then shame on the nation. I mean, sometimes I just feel like saying, we just need some kind of hard personality in government that will not give it to cheap blackmail, all right, and just do what is right. Go after these guys, hit them hard.
That's my thought, because I wanted to
after them.
I wanted to ask, because I don't know. For me, I feel like warning them and telling them to desist away from it, and then telling them that it might drag them to court. They might drag them to court. I feel like they should even be dragged to court and make sure the payback, whatever was taken. I don't think they should actually take this lightly. But I don't know if you suggested that rather than what the warning.
What I said earlier, they know how this guy play out. Before you know it, they will tie it to 1 or 2 things. Flip the narrative, and then want to go to strike. And the next thing is the public, without being objective, will start running all manner of criticism on the government. The government too has an image protection thing to do, and they also know that the public is very lazy in being objective and scrutinizing issue. The government, the public will just jump at that criticism, and then government doesn't want a bad thing for itself. And of course, election is running. You want to be popular with the people, all right? So they also look at that. They know what they will do and what they've been doing over the years. So they're also being cautious, But ideally, what should have been done is to investigate. Already, it's something like they know the schools involved. Investigate the process. Know when you disburse this money. So let them come and explain why they are still holding on to the money, not paying this money, like almost immediately. Then they are culpable. All right, then do the next thing should be done. Take them to the court process, hit them hard. So that people or others will learn from that and not do it. That is how you build institution. That is how you fight corruption. You make example of those that are caught in the act, and you hit them hard. Make them disgrace to their families. Publish them. Bring their faces on national TVs. All right. Bring their names on TV. Put them on social media. Let their families see that their father, their mother is a shame to them. Shame them. Name and shame them. All right. So that others will see and say, if I get on with this act,
this will happen to me too. It will make them stay away.
That's what you do. But when you pat corrupt pushers, corruption pushers on the back, then you see them still going and still coming forward. But when you make a big example of them, because now they're going to stay in this awesome project. They're going to stay in it, put a stamp to it. Now, another thing you will not find out that they'll be so soulless that when they delay this payment, that they will not make it look like some students are not paying, you will not be able to sit for exam. Forgetting that, they are the ones that are delaying the payment. They will still punish the student for it. It will get to that point. That is how heartless they could be. It will get to that point.
Really?
It will get to that point. Then the student will now start crying that we thought we've been approved for the student loan, we didn't get a student loan, and the school asked us. Then it degenerates into a public debate whereby it will now be seen like government is not just up and they're not doing what they ought to do, right? They become that kind of debate. It can't become a debate between the government and the school. We paid, and you didn't pay, you paid.
Because taking for an example, the NOA stated it was the fact that this loan was actually meant for their school fee. Yes. Some people want to use it for their school fee, and stipends. And some persons actually requested for just school fee, and they've been approved because, of course, school fee is very important. Yes. But like you said, imagine if you are short paying them. Yes. It means they can't pay for school fee, and it means they won't be able to sit for exams, which is invariably what you're trying to say. At the end of the day, you're ruining the life of a child. So I actually totally agree with you with the fact that the government, rather than warning, put them to the light. Let us see the faces of this person's institutions, the bank. Yeah, so because this is risking a lot. You know, if the government is trying to help and you are there trying to, I don't know, that's very bad. Let me read some message before you continue reacting. Okay, this one says, "Good afternoon, crew. This government has built a legacy of building Agbero for collecting money by force and intimidation, and also vote buying for election gain. That is why education is in a dead state. Case study, Lagos, and now he has taken it nationally. Nigeria has the highest out of school in the world, caused by this government obnoxious policies, and that has made many children not going to school because of high school fee. And of course, he's introducing school loan, which is a low-grade mind idea." Okay, this person thinks differently. "They prefer to build Agbero and illiterate for election gain. Look at the budget for education, unlike budgets for their frivolities. I know some low-grade mind sycophants will support this government, considering the nightmare. It's a shame the worst of us is ruling the best of us." Let me read another one before we go. Okay, so this one is saying, if a head of any community is a thief, that community there is bound to produce 99% of thieves. Okay, I don't know if this is referring to the education or to the insurgency. Well, this one is also reacting. Okay, this one is reacting to the Borno government. Well, this says it's safe to say that Nigeria has been turned to a gangster paradise, courtesy this government. This is where the cash and carry INEC and judiciary has done for Nigeria. Look at the insecurity in the land. If you protest, they will quickly send police, army, and agros to stop your protest. Whereas, as you have bandits and Fulani headsmen killing people in Plateau, Ebonyi, Edo, Benue, Ondo, etc., you can't see such security to protect the people, but they are swift to condemn killings. That means government is complicit in all these killings, and it doesn't have the political will because of 2027 election political gain. Also, police or army will capture the Boko Haram, Fulani headsmen, and bandits. The government will say they have repented and they will put them back to the society. How will there be peace without justice? It's a shame the worst of us is really the best of us. Truly, there was a country. That one is from Dio, Lagos State. Do you totally agree with this? Because okay, let's first talk about the loan. A person says that student loan is of a low-grade mindset. Do you actually agree to that?
Well, that's a big no. That's coming from a mind that is very angry, angry with the nation, probably angry with the government, right? So now we have Nigeria, like I said earlier, we have a public that are lazy, that lazy thinking, and we have people that are not objective in their criticism, all right? But there are some people, because they're not supportive of this particular government, so there is nothing good that must come from this government. So whatever that is seems to be good that comes from this government, they must find some kind of loophole, around to talk it down. For crying out loud, I do not know why any sane mind would think this student loan thing is a poor idea. For crying out loud, there are a lot of intelligent students, that are missed out of going to an institution for so many years for the simple reason that they could not
afford school
fees and all of that. And our government came out with a policy to help them through school for the entire 4 years, for 5 years, without having to pay a dime. And then give it out in 2 years after graduation, you can start paying when you start working and stuff like that. I thought that was heaven on earth. All right. Then why would anybody think that is a low grade, a project? Right. But people speak from their anger. People speak from their sentiment and their emotions. They just want to see anything good about this. For example, now there's another loan scheme coming up now, the credit loan scheme coming up, whereby we're going to assess you if you think you have the kind of regular pay to get a loan. To go into the loan, you can get a loan. You can get a car. You can get a laptop. You can get a phone. Something that you also will use will bring you some kind of revenue for you. You get that. Brand new, and you spread your payment. And the credit, facility that happen in America and Western world. Now it's coming up gradually. Now some people, that would be fantastic. Yeah. Right? That would be fine. because it's a mortgage policy, it's a mortgage program. But you still find some people that will still criticize it and they talk it down. So I understand that some Nigerians are very angry, all right? Some are angry against the nation because they will say Nigeria has happened to you. Okay? Some are angry with the government.
Of course.
So, and they blow it beyond proportion, all right? So they criticize without the sense of objectivity. That can just generalize their anger and then pull down everyone. Nothing good must come from the government.
Okay.
So somehow with that mindset. So I usually identify such people. I just ignore them.
Okay, so anyway, this is from Reverend Mike. He says that since this student loan has started, only 3 months monthly allowance has been paid to them. Now, I don't know how true is that, but this person must be talking from, maybe from his experience, maybe his child or something.
How about maybe his child or from the school is aware of or whatever? What about if the managers of the fund are also keeping the money? Okay,
yes, which is probably that's what we're discussing right now. That some institutions are not paying the students.
So at the end of the day, the criticism will hit back on the government. So one reason why government needs to hit them hard. Another reason is this: government also know that eating those guys hard, they know how to flip the narrative and get the public talking again against the government. And angry Nigerians are already angry. And once they just hear one side of the story that put the narrative against the government, boom, that's all they need to do, and go out on the street. And sometimes government wants to protect their image, so they're a bit slow on eating at such things.
Okay, all right. This one says, thank you for giving people. Okay, thank you for giving people information about Nigeria. Yes, you're very welcome. That's all we do on the buzz. Whatever is trending online, we'll bring it right here. And also, let's take a reaction to one of the statements viewers said. He said something that when there's a protest, we all know how they bring uniformed men out. I don't know if it's to protect or to tear gas them. I do not know what I'm just saying. But at the end of the day, he's also stating the fact that where there is insurgency, this Boko Haram thing, Fulani headsmen and all the killings, that we barely see where they send in the police, the army, in that full force to these areas to fight or combat this Boko Haram thing or the insurgency happening there. But rather, when they apprehend these people causing these insurgencies, right? When they apprehend them, they, take them in, arrest them, lock them up. But at the end of the day, they release them back into the society under the guise of they have repented. So now, can you react to that one? Because that's a very big statement.
Let me make an attempt to unpack it. Yeah, I think the person just said about 3 things there. One, talk about police being sent in and hoodlums being sent in to stop protests and all that. So I think I said it here sometimes ago that protest is a constitutional right. Right. It's in fact it's a right that we have as we okay, and then it's entrenched in our constitution that protest is allowed. All right, it's constitutional. So and I've said here sometimes too that protest is a corrective tool. It's a privilege we the citizens have. All right, to check the people governing us. All right, so protest is all right. Protest should be allowed to flow. All right, and I strongly condemn any attempt using state forces and all of that security, men to stop protest. It is not right. It is not modern. It is dictatorial. It's not something that should be encouraged. Right. Now, I'm also quick to try to caution the public because we know we're in very desperate times. We have a political system very brutal, very mindless, and very soulless. All right. So we have a political system that can as well use these protesters or take advantage of the protest, right, to undermine the government, to push havoc on the nation. They don't care what wants. They don't care who goes down. They just want a bad name for the government, for the government, so that the public can think the alternative, which will not be the opposition. That's how soulless our political scenario is. Okay, but that's why I strongly say protest is good. I protest a lot, and then we should allow protest to flow. But we should also be careful on the management of protest. That's as regards that. Then the issue of you don't see police, and then you now see police. You see police with protesters. You don't see police with the soldiers and all of that. First thing I want to ask is this: number one, how armed are the police? So a few months ago, we heard about how the number of guns were missing from the police system. Until date, they've not discovered how the guns were missing. And then before then, they are underarmed. and such number of ammunition were missing. All right. So how armed are the police and the soldiers to actually face these guys head on? So sometimes they are not advantage to just face them like that. They will just be suicidal because they are not well armed. That's on one side. The other hand is also the fact that when you see these insurgents and all of these guys do what they do, and use security forces coming to counter them, oftentimes it's where there's a compromise. Oftentimes, that's not true. That's a hard reality. It's a compromise. It's like saying, okay, fine, we'll wait a social time, a social area, all right, fine. Okay, you have this level of this length period of time. Go and do what you have to do. And they delay, but it's often that you see that the police guy will always come when those guys have left. But there's a synergy somewhere.
Okay, so how about the fact that we're rounding up with this though? How about, apologies, we could not pick any call today. We've just been reading messages. How about the fact where they said, after apprehending this, use the word criminals, at the end of the day, you know, they are arrested, they are prisoned, jailed, however it is, they still release them back to the society under the guise of being a repented soul. How do you see that? Because trust me, it has never made sense to any Nigeria. This particular thing the federal government does.
See, it's a very ugly truth that we're trying to deal with here. I said sometimes earlier, you know, when we were talking about the burning issue with the governor and then the minister, and I said something about hidden agenda. So sometimes there are big guys. You see these foot soldiers, these bandits, something they just choose, they are pawns in the hands of some other guys that are in the society. I remember before President Jonathan said Boko Haram are part of his government. All right, because he knows some of the sponsors of Boko Haram are part of his government. He said that, okay, and you see them everywhere. They use this insurgency, they use this killings here and there as a bait, as a gateway power and all of that. And then now seeing how it's now surfacing, all right, and it has a whole lot of political undertone to it. And let me say this on air. Yes, we know that some kind of game was played around Boko Haram attack and all of that to undermine the government of Goodluck Jonathan, and they used that to push him out of power. But you see, if you're going to use that strategy against a president like Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it will not work, because Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Goodluck Jonathan are two different people. One is not a natural politician, the other is a natural politician. The other one knows that, okay, fine, this is part of the game, all right, and it will not slow down. So you cannot use that to blackmail him. So if they're going to keep killing people and think they can use that to instigate public against this president, they can as well kill half of the North, and then this guy will not even move. You understand? We know it's part of the game, and then he will just deal with the issue squarely, and it should not even actually touch him. That's, by the way. What I'm trying to say is this. It is evident that there are strong guys behind these people. All right? So when you see something they are apprehended and they are released, it's just the reality of the ugly scenario that we see. Okay? And that's just what plays out, because these guys are powerful. And sometimes government might not want to flex muscle with them in court, because
my point is, are they supposed to be released back into the society? That's why I'm going to.
Like I said, the first one is saying that the people behind them are powerful enough to get them out. That is the ugly side. Or that's the ugly.
So it means, are you trying to say them being jailed?
I'm not happy with it, but that's just the reality.
Okay.
That's the reality. I'm not dealing with that reality. That's the reality of the table. But on the other hand, too, I was also of that thought that there is no reason on earth why these Boko Haram guys should be released, terrorists should be released, whatever. But until I got exposed to a better information, that I got to understand how there are some conditions in other parties whereby if these guys are caught, there's a window for them to be forgiven.
Please, there should not even be a window, trust me.
Sometimes
I have to cut you because of our time.
Against their will. You also need to
even if recruited against their will or not, they are criminals, they are terrorists, they should not be put back into the, they shouldn't be taken back into the society. But anyway, I have to call it a wrap. Apologies, people are still calling. I could not pick any calls at all today. Apologies, tomorrow is another day. Definitely we'll pick more calls. But thank you to all the callers and all of you who texted also. Thank you. I'm sorry we could not do all of that today. And but at least you're part of the show. But thank you also too for standing in. Thank you so much for being on the show. And yes, always good to have you. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on the bus. Tomorrow is another beautiful day, and of course, tomorrow is my birthday. I hope you know. So I'll be expecting a lot of messages tomorrow concerning the show, and of course, wishing me a happy birthday. But anyways, that's me for you today. I'll see you tomorrow on the bus again. We'll talk about the state and the affairs of the country. Until then.